Holy crap, Mr. Shetzel, we are freaking live!
Let's go!
The beer has been popped. We are live. I am excited for everything. Let me just go ahead and make sure I post it in the Discord that we got it rocking and rolling. And so, Kjetil, we had a freaking awesome weekend at your house this past week, didn't we?
Hell yeah.
What did we do?
We did the most debauched weekend ever. Like, it's gonna be in the newspapers. What we did is that we drank beer, we watched Lord of the Rings, and we played a heck of a ton of Warhammer.
We drank beer, people. Beer.
Absolute debauchery.
We watched the entire trilogy, of course the extended editions, because, please, 100% happened. We have Will in the chat, and Will is saying that we need to make Ian a mod. How do you feel about that, Kjetil? How does that sound to you?
I think we're good for mods in the chat. But
sorry, Ian, you're not going to be a mod.
That's on you.
That's hilarious. So basically, guys, what we're going to do is we have a big international GT this weekend. It's actually pretty sick. We're going to have some serious competition there. I'm pretty sure like 5 or 6 guys from Team Ireland are coming. Is that right?
It's something like that,
we've
yeah.
got some guys coming from the Netherlands. We got guys coming from all over. So it's going to be a pretty freaking rock star tournament. And I'm actually really interested because there's some really cool lists that are up there. So Kjetil and I are going to take a look at some of the spicy lists that we saw. And we're going to kind of give our thoughts and our chats about it. I wanted to go ahead and start by kind of giving a breakdown, and then I'm going to go through what the actual tournament is, so you guys can see like the missions we're playing and the layouts, and then we'll go through all of these lists. If you guys have questions, you know how it is, just type them on down, and we kind of go through all that stuff. Super chats are always appreciated, but not required. And I think it is time for us just to break down. Do you have this breakdown? I think our buddy Geyer did this. Do you want to kind of run everyone through it?
Yeah. So for the people that don't know Norwegian, you can ignore the name of the first column. That's just like labels.
Second, not everyone knows that word. What?
The second column is the amount of players. Then the player rep, as in the percentage of the tournament that is this faction, as well as the normal meta representation, which is, I believe, that's based on stat check. And then the differential between us and like the average meta out there. So as you can see, we have a total of 68 players out of a capacity of 72, which means that we did have 4 drops because it was full at one point, but life happens. And then we have a faction coming in second that probably isn't as expected.
Yeah.
I believe this is the first large tournament with the new Chaos deck. Is that correct?
Oh, this actually very well might be. This might be at least the first weekend of tournaments that's doing it, right?
Yeah. I mean, there might be other major tournaments this weekend that run it, but this is like the first one.
Yeah, so when we look at it, one of the cool things that I found is that we actually have a very representative breakdown of the entire meta. So if you guys look at the final column, it says normal meta representation, which is like 8%, 3%, 4%, and then right there it says the differential. So if it's green, that basically means that we have more people representing those armies than is represented across the entire meta, and red means less. So basically, we're right on target for the meta overall, which is pretty darn sick. The only factions that are really overrepresented would be Chaos Space Marines and the Imperial Knights. Weird for that the Imperial Knights are really represented here.
Yeah, and obviously Chaos Space Marine being overrepresented because it's the first weekend with the new book.
Seems
so that's probably gonna like even out over the next coming weeks.
Yeah, so we were talking about why the Imperial Knights were overrepresented. My theory was that I actually think it's just because like a lot of Custody players can't play Custodes right now. Or I mean, they can, but I mean, they want to win, so they're probably not going to run Custodes right now. And people who run lower model count armies tend to also have other lower model count armies. So that's kind of what I'm thinking is maybe that's why we have so many IK players. I don't actually know. Did you have any other thoughts on it?
Yeah, because I looked at it when you mentioned that earlier. And what we have is that we have a former Sister Sky is on them.
Mm-hmm.
We have a former Custodes guy on them.
Mm-hmm.
We have our dedicated guy, which is a really good player. He was on your team for the team tournament.
He's an amazing
Then we
Imperial
have
Knights player, actually.
um,
We'll talk about
the
his list.
then we have the young and up and coming Hotshot. He's also been really good at it. So I don't necessarily think that we have that many faction jumpers. I think that just the stars sort of aligned in that the people that want to bring knights just brought knights this time.
Sounds about right. So guys, this is 2d6 Dawn of Vor. This is gonna be the 1st and 2nd of June. We are running 5 missions. It is game 1 is gonna be mission A. We do actually run these on GW terrain layouts. We have our own custom terrain for the club, but we run this on terrain on GW layouts. So mission number 1 is gonna be Taken Hold, Chilling Reign, Search and Destroy, followed up by Scorched Earth and Dawn of War. Holy crap! I kind of want to smack RTO for that. Sandra, why do you do this to me, sir? Anyway, then we go into priority targets, hidden supplies, search and destroy. So lots of search and destroy, which is very cool. Makes me happy, at least. Then the ritual and sweeping engagement, and finally purge the foe and crucible. I actually like the missions that we have ahead of us. You know, the only I think actual critique I really have, jokingly I said I don't like the I wanted to smack Sandra for the Scorched Earth one though, is I like the ritual being last. I think the ritual is better last in general, just because when you get to the final round, you want interaction. You want to force interaction. You don't want the 2 people who are in the finals to be like, cool, let's just get a draw. You want them to really be pushing the action to try to force something to happen. And the ritual tends to be such a drawy mission. I think it's best saved for last. Do you have any thoughts or opinions on that?
See, I kind of disagree with that. And that is because if you have it last in a major GT where you are very exhausted, that means that the player who isn't necessarily the best, but the one that can keep track of things most, because it is a very interactive mission. You spawn objectives, you do kind of things, right? And there's different secondary choices maybe than you'd been used to. So doing that on the morning when you're maybe not as exhausted is probably better.
Maybe? Oh, look at that. We got Holy the Bully in chat. What's up, buddy?
I mean, that's semantics at this point, right? Because I obviously think that Purge the Foe is the most Unga Bunga mission.
Yeah, it's let's freaking go, dude.
Yeah, so it is a mission where you have to think a bit.
We got 50 Mike in the chat, and he's saying, yeah, for those exhaustions, that's why we go to the gym. Mental and physical health. We get that endurance. We love it. Dude, that's so true.
Exactly. And that's the most defining thing about a tournament.
Yep.
Winner isn't necessarily that they are the most skilled, but they are the most consistent through all 5 rounds at a high enough level to knock it out when others get too exhausted and make mistakes.
Dude, that's such a big deal. I have beat people at tournaments because they were done. Wasn't because I was better than them. I wasn't, but they were just done. Their feet hurt, their backs ached, and they were sitting down. They weren't checking the table as much as it was. And so I ended up getting the win. All right. Richard Kopaj says, let's go. He needs to hear the secret, so he's done hearing us ramble. Let's jump into some of these lists. What do you say, Mr. Kjetil?
Oh!
Let's do it. All right, so number 1. This is one from one of our locals. His name is... I'm going to go in reverse order. Let's start with Jürgen Eriksson. This is called the Chunky Critter Crew, and he's running a Synaptic Nids. And I actually like this list. A lot of people are thinking that Nids don't really have the play right now, and I just I'm not a Nids player. And I see, when I look at Nids, I see all the tools necessary to actually run a really strong game plan. But this is very similar to the way that I would be running the Nids. So basically what he's running here is he's got his Death Leaper, his Neuro Tyrant, and then his Winged Tyrant. I actually like the Winged Tyrant as well. Two squads of Gargs, 1 Termagants, Biovore, Exocrine, Lictor, Maliceptor, Neurogaunts, and then the big chunky boys, double Norn Emissary. Because the big thing about your Synaptic Nexus is that those Norn Emissaries, both of them are going to end up having AOC, which makes them a nightmare to actually chew through, because those bad boys are going to be a 2-up with AOC. They're going to be in cover because they've got all the spindly bits, so they're always going to be hidden. They have the 4-up invuln. They've got the 5-up feel no pain when they're on their objectives, which they will be. I actually love this list. I'm a big fan. The only thing I'm not certain of is he's running a 6-mana zones. I'm not sure why it's a 6 and maybe not like 2 3-mans, but other than that, I like it a lot, man. I think Norn spam is great. Have you run across Norn spam? Does that like cause you any concern, Shetta?
I have run against Norn spam. I did play Björn in the team tournament.
Right.
I did lose to it. A bit of that was because the margins tilted in his favor, and if you can force the margins to tilt in the favor of the Tyranid player, then it certainly can stat check things, right?
Yeah, fair enough.
I just feel like on the GW layouts that we have now, the objectives are very exposed in the open, so it might not get cover from everything.
See if I can pull it up for you while you talk. So this is going to be...
it does have a 4... The Emissary is the one with the invul, right?
Yeah, the Emissary's got the 4-up invuln.
Yeah, so you will have that.
It's got the melta guns and all that.
However, I feel like if you look at the rest of the list, all he has are 2 exocrits.
Maybe. Like, how would your Canoptic Court do into this, right? So your Canoptic Court runs into it. You try to dogpile with Wraiths on the pile. They don't out-OC the Emissary and like 1 Termagant.
No, but I could bring down the Emissary with Mortals before it gets to the objective.
Yeah, I guess Mortals has got to be the way. If you can get to him before he gets to his objective, that would probably do. Because the 5-up Feel No Pain is great, but it's probably not enough to block them all.
Yeah, and then I could potentially just Dev Wound and Lethal it down with the Scorpex.
We've got Joey Rexer in the chat. Hey man, actually I love your products. So if you guys don't know Joey Rexers, he runs a company called Rex's Lasers, and it's actually pretty awesome. You should go check him out. He ships mainly in Texas, I think. Feel free to type it into the chat if that's true. You can also post your website if you want. That's fine. We love you. And anyway, he says he feels anytime someone says the Silent King in Necrons is good, he feels like he's being trolled. He doesn't see his points cost being worth it. I disagree with you. I find the Silent King causes a lot of problems. Typically in the Hypercrypt, where he can get all of his things ignoring modifiers, that's super damn strong. Oh, and actually, yeah. So I actually find the Silent King to be quite strong. He probably is a little overpriced. You're the Necrons guy. What do you have anything to specific to say against that?
I think he is a little bit overpriced, but the thing he brings to the army, when a lot of things are damaged too, like specifically if we're talking about the Canoptic Court that was mentioned earlier, having your Wraiths always be damaged too, it's kind of good. Because imagine that into like your Lamarty squad and stuff like that. Suddenly you don't really concern yourself too much about that.
Or the monolith shooting, right? All those
exactly.
The particle whip being at damage 2 going down to damage 1 is a nightmare, but staying at damage 2, it's a problem. It's a big problem.
Yep. Means you win the mirror, all kinds of stuff, right?
Yeah. So anyway, that was list number 1. Next list I want to talk about was Joseph Musgrave. Now this guy. Let's talk about Mr. Joseph's list, because this is my type of list. I believe this is one of our super fun Irish compatriots who's showing up, right? All this aggravation ain't satisfactioning me. That is beautiful English, and I'm super thrilled about it. So he's running Angron, classic, and then the Avocado himself. Sorry?
It should be said that his army name is based on his theme song, which is A Little Less Conversation by Elvis Presley.
Respect. Mad respect. So we got Mr. Angry Ron, we got Avocado himself, triple jackals, 2 squads of 8 man, of 8 bound, 3 man 8 bounds, and then 3 bricks of Exalted 8 bound. Bro, this list has one thing on its mind that it wants to do, and one thing only, and I pity the poor sap who has to run against this on freaking search and destroy layouts. Holy crap, 18 x 8 pound.
If you don't know how to screen, you're in trouble. Like normal war leaders, they come at you. But they have the rhinos and stuff in the back, right? This is just turn 2. It's go time. It's Tilly time. We're going at it. And if you don't kill me, you're done. Like, you're done, bro.
This right here is a Jonathan Arkin as hell World Eaters list. I'm just saying, I am all here for this. No balance, full send. I love it. How many units is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. 10 on the dot. That's so gorgeous. All right, now that we've spoken about blood, let's talk about drinking some blood with some flying space boys. Now, I'm a basic bitch. I'm a simple man. I always forget to name my armies, and I didn't give anything clever for you guys this time. Sorry about that. So I have changed my Blood Angels list a little bit. I'm not going to go in super detail right now just because I want to go through some of these other juicy lists. But essentially, it's very similar. So I'm running 3 big bricks instead of the old 4 big bricks. I got 1 captain with a jump pack, 2 Sang Priest, no enhancements. I'm bringing Dante because Dante's a total Chad. I don't think he gets the respect he's due. I got Lamarte's and I got the Sanguinor. It was really actually funny story, Kjetil. So when we were driving down to your house this past weekend, Gorm and I were in the car and we had a long conversation about how the Sanguinor just, dude, he's not worth his points. I understand what he does is cool, but it just doesn't do it for me. And I gave this long speech and I get all this really good details and I did some comparison of like points to value ratios and things. It was a great explanation. And then I played my first game of Sanguinor that night and then the Sanguinor stayed in my list. Because that guy opens things up. All right, and then I've got the 10-man brick of Assault Intercessors with jump packs. 2 5-man JPIs. I'm not actually sold on those, but I'm happy with them for now. I got the Lamarte's 10-man Death Company Marine Squad. A 5-man Infiltrators. You know what? I think it was Innis who said it, is that when Marine players don't bring Infiltrators, they're just getting greedy. And I think that's true, man. Infiltrators, they just make matchups for you. They give you so much utility in any sort of Demons matchup, Grey Knights matchup, heck, even Votann matchups, because you get the 12-inch screen for like bikes coming back in from reserve. It's so powerful. I think Infiltrators are a must. Running double Scouts, and then I've got a 10-man Van Vet squad, because those guys are a beast. 1 Gladiator Reaper, and then my new favorite friend, my Death Company Dreadnought. Woe unto those who do not know what my Death Company Dreadnought does. Because that boy is about to wreak some havoc. Now, a lot of people think the Death Company Dreadnought is really easy to play around because they're like, yeah, okay, he gets +2 to charge and he can do this trick like where he gets infinite fights if he just does like chain consolidations, but it's super easy to play around. I gotta be honest with you guys, I've played this into a bunch of people right now, and I've gotten the combo off in every single match. Except for like one where I just didn't make the first charge. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, and then you consider the fact that this is a tournament. Maybe they screen you out well on the first game. Oh. Maybe they don't let you do it in the first game. Maybe even the second. But on the third game on the Saturday, on the 5th game, right, final game Sunday, do they remember to do all that screening, making sure that there's at least 3 inches between things, right? Because one thing is when you do the 6-inch, okay, so you get 1. But then there's the other one, right? And then you can't just have all your units be spread 3 inches all the time. You just have to make a conscious choice, like, he is gonna touch something.
Bad touch something. That's the important part. But yeah, so this is the list. I love it. Justin T in the chat is very disappointed in me. He said he calls me a Benedict Arnold because I'm not bringing orcs. Bro, I am bringing flying orcs. Let me tell you, I just want a Krump and I need to get there faster, and my normal orcs aren't fast enough, so I had to go with you know, faster flying space vampire guys. Anyway, moving on to the next list. This is Eirik Kristofferson. Now, I'm not entirely sure this is a good list, but I love Eirik and he's a fantastic player. But this is one heck of a stat checklist. Kjetil, do you happen to have Wahapedia pulled up or anything like that?
I certainly do.
Because we have...
I have the official Games Workshop application looking at official rules.
That's what we meant. That's what we meant. Official Games Workshop application. So we've got a Cerastus Knight Acheron, a Cerastus Knight Atropos, a Cerastus Knight Lancer, a Knight Gallant, 1 solo Moirax, and then 2 solo Inquisitors. I brought this one up because while I think it looks bad initially, I'm gonna like eat my own foot if it turns out to be really good. And it is one hell of a stat check. Like if you can't handle those big boys, you're going down. What do these guys even do? What does the Acheron and the Atropos even do? Do you know?
So the Acheron has a big, I believe it's 2d6, strength 8, AP1, damage 2 flamer. You know, ignore cover, whatever. The Bondsman ability probably isn't that relevant because he only has 1 battle line unit.
Bondsmen are irrelevant.
Yeah. But if you have been hit by the flamer, you don't get cover. So it's sort of like a hell. So it's like the guard's hellhound.
That's cool.
The Atropos is the anti-Titanic vehicle.
Right.
So if it's in the Nightmare, then or if it's shooting at Gorkanauts, stuff like that, it'll ruin your day.
Makes sense.
The Lancer obviously is the charging guy who can tank shock for free. The Gallant is the melee for Imperial Knights, I believe.
So yeah, it looks like it. He's just like he's got the Reaper Chainsword, the Gauntlet.
Yeah.
Yep, fair enough. So he's going full send melee pressure. I love it. Now this is GW terrain, guys, which means it's much easier to move these things than say on WTC. So this list actually can play, and I'm excited to see if it performs. I tend to think it won't, but it can.
The problem with the Knights is that they're big.
Yeah.
And it is relatively easy to kill Knights, right? If you put your mind to it, they die. And they're only OC 10 each. There are many armies out there that can deny you primary if you're just 4 big Knights.
Yeah.
And it is just 4 big Knights. It is 4 models that you need to handle. And they can be move blocked by a single Scarab.
This is like the ultimate in Beer Hammer, where I'm here to drink. Also, if you don't pay attention, I'm gonna wipe you off the table. Okay, cool. Then we're gonna run into actually a very spicy Eldar list here. So this is one of our Irish buds who's coming on over. I've played Colin. He's a great player. And I'm actually really excited to see how he does this. So he's rocking Ivrain, and that's his only character, which is really fascinating to me. We're seeing Aeldari with 1 character. 10 Storm Guardians. 3 units of Dark Reapers. Now, I didn't think Dark Reapers were really anything to worry about. And then I played them recently. Dude, they actually hit up a lot more than I thought they would. Dark Reapers...
They are just super consistent.
Very consistent.
That little indirect gun that ignores cover and the hit modifier.
Yeah.
Like that's what people bitch about guard doing, and here they are in elf form again.
I mean, it's only AP 1, damage 1, like strength 4 or something, but still, yeah, it does more than you think it would.
But if you think back to mortar spam in 9th, right? That was the thing. Strength 5, AP 1, ignore. Yeah.
No, Kjetil. 3 squads of like 6 mortars in 9th edition was not the same as 1 gun.
No, but like
do not defend the sins of your past.
It's the same-ish thing in elf form.
It's not.
But they shoot about the same because it's 2d6, not just d6.
All right, guys, I'm giving Kjetil the backhand right here, trying to defend that evil monstrosity that was 9th edition guard.
I did not have the fin. I just.
You're one of like 2 people in history that have made me actually rage quit with that nonsense. All right, then we have 2 squads of Shadow Specters, which are great. The 3 D cannons, which, believe it or not, does not stand for Dick Cannon. I know that's a surprise to everyone. Then 1 Swooping Hawks, 3 Warp Spiders, and it's not done, guys. He's got Mandrakes, Reavers, and 3 squads of Scourges. All running Haywire Blasters, interestingly enough, for all that sweet dev wounds. That's
your list right there.
Slaps, people. The MSU available to you in this list and the maneuverability that it has is scary, bro. I'm concerned about this list.
And it should be said, Colin has put out some very good results I think he was Ireland's top scoring player at Eurotrash, for example.
Dude.
This is one to watch for the tournament.
Yeah,
basically.
this is a podium contender right here. I know people were like, "Oh, Eldar have kind of fallen off." No, Eldar's still very darn good, and this list slaps. Whew. Ooh, the next list we have. This is Orcs for all of my green boys out there. So this is a buddy of ours. He's a compatriot of ours on Team Norway. His name is Bjorn, and he is a incredible player. He is very, very skilled. One thing he does is he runs weird stuff. And he makes weird stuff work. It's just how it is. And so he built this kind of weird thing that I am lovingly calling the Dread Tide. So this is Dread Mob. He is bringing Zodgrod Wartsnaga. Of course, that's the guy who gives like the scout move to all the grots, and he hits way harder than he has any right to. 3 big mechs with shock attack gun, 1 with the Get Finder goggles for ignore cover. 2 normal mechs, 6 squads of grots, 1 is a 20-man. I assume that's going with Zodgrod. So he's going to be using these for move blocking, OC, causing mortals. 3 squads of 10 Ludas. Each one of these, I assume, is going to be having that big mech with shock attack gun. So he's going to be passing out some really, really annoying battle shocks where you probably don't want it. And one of those squads of Ludas has enough to almost delete a Land Raider because it's going to have the ignore cover rule. And the math on that is actually really weird in Dread Mob when you stack it with all the strats. And that's going to catch some people unawares, I promise you.
I have run against this, and it is surprisingly shooty if you don't respect it.
Yeah, man. Yeah. 1 unit of Storm Boys, it's just be doing actions and nonsense. Double Gorkanaut, and then the 6 trucks. Now, when I initially take a look at this list, being an Orc player, I'm like, the heck is this guy doing? Bjorn does things with the list that are unexpected. Just like off the cuff, Kjetil, when you see something like this, what do you think this causes what do you think this causes an issue for? Like, who is worried about going into this?
I had the game against this when I was in the airport on the way home from Sweden. With one of the lists you and I have discussed. And it's a surprising amount of pressure from those Gorkanauts if you can't handle them. Because they do get the +1 to hit from the mechs. They will get repaired by the mechs. So you can't just whittle them down eventually. There's enough OC here in denial in trucks that are hard to get out, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there are some armies, like maybe like a melee pressure army that doesn't necessarily have enough high strength stuff, might struggle a little bit on the primary here with all those grots and trucks.
And I can tell you guys, rerolling hits with damage 2 on the Gorkanaut's gun is a lot.
And if you end up getting stuck with Zodgrod and don't manage to dig yourself out, if you can't jump over them, if you don't respect the potential like turn 1 wall run straight into you, you're gonna have issues, right? This is a player skill army.
Yeah.
I think. If you don't have the skill to realize what this army is doing to you, then you'll be bamboozled and you'll probably lose.
This, I mean, I don't actually know, but this might be a turn 1 wall kind of style army.
The 2 times we have played, it has been turn 1 wall,
which is really interesting to me. But it's a very different style Orcs list, so it looks cool, man. I gotta be honest with you, it looks pretty cool. I'm not so certain how good I think it is, but remember, guys, armies are contextual with the user. You can take someone who's very good at the game and give them one of the best armies in the game, and they might not necessarily be good with that army. It's just certain people are good with certain things, and Bjorn is really good at pulling magic tricks with these weird looking lists. So I'm excited to see how he does.
I am unsure how it'll work on the GW layouts.
Yeah.
But I'm very much looking forward to see what it's going to do with it.
All right, we're moving on. So we got Mr. Tom Maher. We got some fish people to represent. So this is another one of the Irish lads. Man, they're bringing some really cool stuff. I'm excited to see them in action. This is a vomit-inducing army right here. I ran into a similar style army of Fortal at my last tournament of 9th edition, and it beat me by 1 point. Rasmus, how dare you! But so Tom here is replicating that. So he's got 3 Cadre Fireblades, 1 Crew Trail Shaper. It's got the Strike Swiftly one, which I believe that's the enhancement that gives 2 units Scout, if I'm not mistaken.
Exactly. It's the Invocatus.
Right.
Strat.
Fantastic enhancement, by the way. And then we got the vomit-inducing 6 Breacher teams. Blech. 6 Breacher teams hanging out. We got 3 Devilfish, which means he's probably going to be strat reserving 1 or 2 squads, or he's going to be playing Taxi with them. We got Kroot Carnivores, 1 Pathfinder team, Triptide, because you can't play Tal in any edition if Triptide's not a thing, apparently. And then 3 units of Stealth Suits. This is a lot of stuff that has a lot of delete button power. Especially with turn 1 advanced shoot, turn 1 through 3 advanced shoot. I think this is going to hurt people's feelings. What about you?
Well, once again, I'm curious about how it's going to play out on GW layouts, because the Breacher teams don't have that much range. And if you can get a hold of those Devilfishes, they'll have to expose themselves a lot in order to be effective. But that's the thing with Mont'ka. If you shoot the Breachers, you're not shooting the Riptides. And if you're shooting the Riptides, you're not shooting the Breachers.
That's the thing,
so
right?
do you have enough stuff to shoot the horde of fishmen as well as shooting the Gundams?
Man,
maybe.
And how fast do they go, right? Because it's 12 inches, but it's going to get the scout move.
They can go 16 in a normal move for the Riptides.
Oh, on the Riptide, 16 inches.
Oh. And the Devilfishes can advance and disembark.
Right.
So the Devilfishes will go wherever they want. There is no terrain in the way for them on GW layouts. Mm-hmm. So that's the double-edged sword, right?
Right.
The Tau player can hit you, and he can hit you.
Right.
But in return, they can't exactly hide.
That's true. Because what the Devilfish is going to scout 6 inches, and then it's going to go like 18 inches, and then you're going to disembark from it 3 inches, right? So
yeah, so it'll touch whatever it wants if it wants to touch something.
All right. So we got some
like if you deploy your Catan on that objective, you don't have a Catan turn 1.
Dude, it's gone. Yeah, you can't stat check that. Wow.
Just don't deploy on the objective against this guy. Is all I'm saying. Just don't deploy on the objective turn 1. You don't need it. You don't score turn 1.
All right, then our next lad, we've got Sean Murray. Man, you know, this is one of the cool things. So there's a lot of really awesome people in Warhammer 40,000. I've played a lot of people who I really enjoy. Some I'm not the biggest fan of, but a lot of great people. But every single one of the Irish lads that I've played have been rock stars. They are all awesome people. So once again, we got Mr. Sean Murray hanging out. And this guy is bringing Tyranids. So we got actually a little bit of Tyranids represented, which is cool. So this is Vanguard. This is a really interesting Tyranid list. So we've got Deathleaper, Broodlord, Neurotyrant, triple-winged Tyranid Primes, and you're going to see why in a moment. Biovores, 5 Stealers, 10 Neurogons, 2 Neurolictors, and then we've got 3 squads of 6 Tyranid Warriors, which is a lot. That's the whole main thing of it. Then we got the 3 Venoms, 3 Von Ryans, double Haruspex, double Maliceptor. This list has pressure behind it. Like, hard pressure. With the points reduction, those Tyranid Warriors actually slap a little bit when you stack on their twin links and all these things. I'm kind of concerned about this list. I think it's probably a lot better than people are expecting it because they're like, oh, it's Vanguard. But I don't know, man. The 50mm bases are a bit of a concern for the Tyranid Warriors, which is stupid, GW. Why aren't they 40mm? Anyway, do you have any thoughts on this one?
I think that people are in general underestimating Tyranids and the things that they can do, simply because, oh, the win rate's not there, therefore it's bad, right?
Right.
But there are skews and there are good datasheets. The Tyranid Warriors are one of those very good datasheets that they have. It's a buttload of attacks at AP2 damage 1, reroll to wound. It's twin linked, right? And it has a lot of attacks. And because the winged Tyranid Prime is there, they get advantage of all the Vanguard strats, because the winged Prime has the keyword that unlocks all the strats. So they can have precision, right? Oh, there goes your Technomancer. And then your Wraiths just die, right? It has the profile that's good into things like Bully Boys, into things like Canoptek Wraiths, stuff like that, right? It's good into you as well. If they get the clap first, and that Sang Priest goes away, and then the second squad fights, your unit's gone, right? If two of those connect with you, you're gone.
They will melt my Marines. Yeah, I'm concerned. I gotta be honest with you. I'm pretty concerned about that one.
But likewise, right? They can only load up one of them, right, and it's GW layout.
Exactly.
Which means that there's limited staging areas in a couple of these layouts.
Yeah, I mean, they're not that bad. Like, I can kind of show you, because we have our club-specific terrain, so I'll pull up some of the layouts for you guys. So there is actually significant places where you can, like, actually stage. So this would be our layout 4. So you can basically deploy completely safe here.
Of course. But, I mean, there are less opportunities to, like, sort of, like, pressure up the board safely for a turn. Like, you have to go to the spot, and then they'll either swing around and shoot you, or you'll be safe, right? There are no, like, I am definitely safe here turn 1 type terrain layouts, in a sense.
Yeah. You know, one thing I'm a little interested that we're not really seeing in all these Tyranid lists is we're not seeing normal Lictors. Like, I don't actually get that. When I look at a Lictor's profile for 55 points...
It's a point and priority thing, right? The Lictors are kind of nice on their own, but you want the Neurolictors first, and then you kind of just want other stuff to do other things.
I guess,
it's a bit superfluous in what it does, right? It's good on its own, but it's kind of superfluous compared to, like, other things.
All right, fair enough. Let's talk about this one. So this is from our buddy Mikhailo Lietsev. I butchered that, and you know, I'll buy him a Coke. Anyway, so he is running the style of Imperial Knights that I would run if I were to run Imperial Knights. So this guy was on my team when we did an internal, like, team tournament, and holy crap, this dude can freaking play Warhammer. He surprised all of us when he just showed up, and, like, basically every round, because I did a terrible job pairing for our team, I was like, hey, bro, get me points. And then he'd be like, done. I get you 16-4. Is this good? I'm like, yeah, bro, that's pretty good. I expected you to get me 2 points. And he just, like, he's a freaking rock star. Like, the things he was doing with this army was just amazing. And he built this list, which is very similar to how I would probably build an Imperial Knights list. So he takes the #1 Chad in the entire game, Canis Rex, because I don't know how you don't take Canis Rex if you're running Imperial Knights. Or honestly, a lot of Imperial armies. He's just so freaking amazing. 4 Helverins, 5 Warglaves, a Calidus, and then he's got Henchmen with Draxus. It's short, it's sweet, it's got a ton of OC, it's got a ton of maneuverability, it punches like a freight train. I love it.
Yep, you can't underestimate those Helver into things like Wraiths, for example.
Or Satan, right? Because they're really good at Satan.
Yeah, I mean, those 4, and again, it's GW layouts. There's a bigger chance that you can get all 4 of them pointing at the Catan in this. They kill the Catan. Like, straight up. If all 4 of them can shoot, especially if you, like, trigger the sustained strat.
No, the sustained is Chaos Knights. These guys get AP and, was it +1 Ballista skill? Is that what it is?
Whatever strat they have
that
works. Like, there's a strat that buffs them that just makes it 100% guaranteed to kill Catans and stuff.
Pretty much.
What I see this maybe struggling into is Bully Boys.
Yeah, Bully Boys are probably an issue. Or I think Orcs in general are probably an issue for this list.
I think Bully Boys specifically, because Kane is he can break chains, but he can't break Mega Nobs.
At least not during the Wa phase, that's for sure.
No, there will be 2 turns where he will lose almost all the Armigers.
Yeah.
He'll either lose all the Armigers or he'll be down by 30 points difference.
We do have several Bully Boys who are here. I think we've got 3 Bully Boys, 1 War Horde, and then the 1 Dread Mob. So there's a possibility of him running up against that. That's fair. Yeah. Okay. So, Mikael, hope I don't run into you because that looks scary. Actually, I think I would actually love to run into this with my army, but
Ah, it's anti-fly 2 up on those autocannons.
oh yeah, I know. But with a strength of 8, I mean they wouldn't move regardless on 2s.
Ah, fair
So
enough.
it makes no difference to me. All right, so this is a Blood Angels list that we're seeing from Martin Versteeg, which I also, ruined a bunch of that. So he's actually from the Netherlands. He's one of them Dutch boys, and we love him. He's actually an awesome human being. And he is running a pretty cool Blood Angels list. I actually really like it. So it is one captain, Lamartes, Sang Priest, and a Sanguinar. When I look at this list, I actually think of it as kind of like a blend between my style of Blood Angels and like Innes Wilson's style, where you're running like the Impulsors and the captains leading the Assault Marines. So he's got one captain that's going to be leading the 5 Assault Intercessors that are going to be inside the Impulsor. And then he's got 3 squads of 5 JPI, which are just always good. Double Ball Predator. I love Ball Predators. They're great. They're not currently in my list, but that's not because they're not great. Those things are badasses. He's got the Lamarte's 10-man, and then he follows up Lamarte's 10-man of Death Company with jump packs with 2 5-man Death Company with jump packs. That is a bit of a surprise because they're expensive now, but just kind of thinking about it, those dudes do still slap. The only issue being is that they are OC 0 unless they're within 12 of Lamarte's, which realistically isn't that hard to have happen, but it can be a problem. And then we've got 2 scouts and the 10-man of Vanguard vet squads led by a Sang Priest. This is a rock'em sock'em robot kind of list here. I'm honestly here for it. I think it's just going to be like the pitfall of this list is can he keep those 2 Death Company Marine squads within range of Lamarte's to get them to their OC so that they can go score a tempting target or they can go score capture enemy outpost or whatever. If he can do that,
honestly, like I don't think that's a concern at all. I think those 2 are just there to go, you 2, fuck shit up.
They really might be.
And then everything else just scores, right?
Especially with their innate reroll charges. I mean, because now suddenly he can, he can deep strike 3 units in a turn and have all of them have a 9-inch rerollable charge. I'm not saying that's necessarily a great plan, but like if he runs himself in the situation where he needs that, he has that. This army also doesn't care at all about who the Oath target is because half the army is rerolling hit rolls anyway. I like it.
It'll definitely be interesting to see. Martin is a great player and an honorary Viking, must be said. He really helped us out at Eurotrash.
That's right, he was. That's right, man. I couldn't go down to Eurotrash. That was sad, but I'm glad you guys.
You would have enjoyed Martin. He is a lovely guy.
That's awesome, man. That's freaking. I mean, I'm excited to. Well, I'm not gonna phrase it that way. I'm excited to hang out with this. That was trap, bro. You just set a trap for me. You guys can follow me on my only orcs, later. All right, this is our buddy Lasatirim. So this is kind of an interesting take on 18 Wraiths. It is 18 Wraiths, but it's actually an Awakened Dynasty. And Shetta, could you kind of walk us through this one? Do you happen to have his list pulled up on your side?
I do.
Cool. Would you mind walking us through this and just explain it? Because it's a little confusing to me.
Right. So you have the 18 Wraiths.
Sure.
You have the 3 Technomancers that go with it.
Mm-hmm.
You have a Reanimator because it's the Awakened Dynasty. It's the Reanimate Dynasty, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you have the strat for when you get shot and you lose a model, you can trigger Reanimation. And then you do it on 2d3, which means that you're likely going to get a Wraith back every time you reanimate. Because that's one of the things in Canoptek Court. You don't always get that Wraith back.
Right.
In this, with the Reanimator, you kind of do. Then you have one of the things that I've really started enjoying using, which are the Scorpex. But he only has 1 unit, and then 3 Lords.
Yeah, that's...
And then he has Imhotep, and then the Nightbringer. Now, the Lords running on their own, he has had some success with it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't agree that it's the best use of points. Should be said that it is Awakened Dynasty. If they die, you spend a CP, they stand back up, right?
Okay. So he can almost
That-
enable like. No, no.
Yeah, like that's it's they come back at the end of the phase. It's 7 wounds at T7. They have a 4-pin. Well, they're not hard. It's not difficult to get rid of 2 of them at once, right? You saw that this weekend.
Right.
They're not hard to kill, those Corpex squads. And then what you end up being left with is the Nightbringer, Doomsday Ark, and 18 Wraiths, right?
Yeah. There's
not that much there to score stuff, if we're talking like a fixed plan. And the Wraiths are kind of tied to the Reanimator. And there are lists that just chew through this, right?
Yeah.
And again, like, sure, if you lose the Technomancer in the fight phase to precision, it'll die, and then come back at the end of the phase. However, if those Wraiths get hit by, say, 2 squads,
right,
or the Sanguinor and a squad, right? Then, whoops, the Wraiths died, and then the Technomancer comes back to nothing.
Right.
Essentially, right?
Yeah.
That's one of the pitfalls of running this. I have looked at a similar style list.
Okay.
So I think it can be done. I think it can be done a little bit more efficiently. But personally, like I just think that 18 Wraiths and Canoptek is just falling out of the meta.
Yeah.
Like I genuinely think. Saying that, I did bring it myself, but that's for different reasons.
I was gonna wait because I think your list is next.
I just think that there are too many predators out there for an 18 Wraith list like this and like mine to win.
Okay. All right, so the Scorpack Lords is just, it's like a choice, but there's not like a super secret tag between running them solo.
No. I mean I would run them with a 3-man squad. I would get rid of that Doomsday Ark and just give them their Scorpack tag-alongs, because it just makes that PPP so much better.
Fair enough. Speaking of some PPP, baby, we got your list.
As you can see, it is relatively similar.
Yeah.
But I feel, and this might be me just, talking up my ass, I feel like mine is designed with a plan that doesn't necessarily just relate to just, I'm just gonna get shot up and live.
Right.
Right? Because I think that a lot of Necron players, and this is not against Lasse at all, because he is a good player,
yeah,
and he knows what he's doing. But I feel like the list he built relies too much on the innate tankiness of Necron.
Sure.
And you can't rely on reanimation. Reanimation is there to just push your differential, if you want to put it that way, right? Mm-hmm. But you got to actually bring the win from something. And if you think, like, I play this list just like purely fixed. I just go cleanse homers on this.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have the Tomb Sentinels sit on 2 objectives, while the Wraiths put up a wall in front. And then if I see one of the Wraith sides start falling, I throw in a Scorpack to clean it up, and then continue pushing onwards.
And those Scorpack slap, dude. I was really impressed by that.
Yeah, people forgot how much they did back in the day.
Yeah.
And how much they can actually do now.
And they're not slow either.
No, they move like 8 inches. And with the Scorpack Lord, they're lethal. You have some impact mortals. They have dev wounds. They have full reroll to hit. Like, their value into almost any target in the game is surprisingly good. They won't win you the game alone. They won't win you engagements by themselves. But that's the thing, right? Things hit the Wraith, you mop up with the Destroyers.
Right. The Wraith is the wall that you smash yourself upon, and then you get flanked. I'm with you. Exactly. I do want to point out one thing here that you kind of glanced over, is those Tomb Sentinels. Do you want to kind of explain real quick how you use those Tomb Sentinels? Because that's something that a lot of people aren't used to.
They're part of the fixed plan, right? So right. They go to the side objectives,
mm-hmm.
and they sit on that objective with Armor of Contempt, Toughness 9, 9 wounds, often behind a wall. Like, you can't shoot them, and if you get to them, you can't really kill them, at least not efficiently, and they just sit there and cleanse all game.
Right. Or they're also one of those things that you can easily just like dangle out in the middle, be like, cool, I got to get to the middle this turn.
Yeah, like you just
nothing's gonna efficiently go through it. I mean, people can kill them, sure, but they have to dedicate and expose themselves to the rest of your army if they want to.
Yep, and if they do that, I take the 3 Doomstalkers, I point them at whatever, kill the Sentinel, and then just go to town. Unless, you know, like that happened in that one game we played where I just roll like 3 ones in a row for amount of shots and then don't kill anything. And then the last one rolls like 8 shots and kills the squad.
Yeah. So that's the way of those randomized weapons. So we're gonna wrap up here pretty soon. We got Mr. Jorn Pedersen's list. I want to talk about this one, and then if I missed any, please make sure you bring it up for me, okay? So this is a very different take on the Eldar, and I just kind of want to talk about this so I can kind of contrast this for us. Let me make sure it was this one, right? Yeah, no. Where are we? Where's Mr. Collins? There we go. So I just want to kind of put these two together so that I can talk about them here. So we already talked about Collins' list, and that was the one, just to remind everyone with, we've got one character, and then the rest is just MSU units. Then we have Jorn's list, and this is one of the cool things about Eldars, because they're very flexible in the way they can be built. So Jorn went the exact opposite direction. Instead of one character and like 1 million MSU units, Jorn went with 9 characters, and then some MSU units. And the thing is like, this is not a bad list. It's just a very different list. And I think it's pretty darn cool. So he's running 1 Autarch Weed Leaper with the Phoenix Gem. That's the dude who gets up when he dies. He's got the Death Jester with Fate's Messenger. He's the guy who kills what he shoots. 1 Farseer. 1 Farseer on bike. A Warlock on bike. The Avatar of Cain. A Solitaire, which, by the way, I freaking love the Solitaire. I don't understand why more people don't run the freaking Solitaire. If you guys don't know what the Solitaire does, the Solitaire, turn 1, points in a direction, moves 1 million inches, and kills whatever he charges. He's awesome. Then we've got the Vizark and Ivrain, 11 Guardian Defenders, 5 Hawks, a big troop that's almost certainly going to be led by Ivrain, and then 5 Warp Spider, or 3 units of 5 Warp Spiders. This is a...
Should be said that Ivrain and the Vizark can go together in the troop squad.
Oh, yeah, that's very true. That's very true. Because actually, dude, Ivrain kind of messes people up when she's attached to units, bro.
Yep.
So it's just a very different style list, and I think me personally, I'm a little more concerned about Collins' list, but I can 100% see how this list here can wreak havoc into people. And I wanted to highlight the differences just so you guys can see how flexible and how many options Eldar still have, because they're still pretty darn great.
And it also sort of highlights the difference between an MSU style list and a list with key units, right?
Yep.
Nothing in Collins' list makes or breaks his game plan. In this list, there are 3 units that are like key to what Jörn wants to do. It's the troop squad with fights first and feel no pain.
Mm-hmm.
It's the Wind Riders with the Warlock, and it's the Avatar.
No Wind Riders in this.
No, there's Wind Riders.
11 Guardians, 5 Hawks, 12.
All the way at.
Oh yeah, okay, sorry, 6 Wind Riders at the bottom. Sorry.
Yeah, that's a big sure. They shoot a lot. When they are guided, like they shoot a lot.
That's true.
But the problem is that they are relatively easy to kill. It's just elves on bikes.
Yeah.
The troop squad kind of hurts, but by itself, it is also somewhat trivial to remove. It's a 4 up Inval and a 5 up Feel No Pain, right? There's a lot of armies that just and there's a lot of armies that shoot enough to just get rid of that. And people know that if you just throw grenades at the Avatar for 3 turns, it dies.
Pretty much.
So after that's gone, what is left here, right? There's the 15 Warp Spiders, which are always a problem, right? Mm. But that's not a differential between the MSU list and this.
Yeah.
So he needs to sort of babysit his units.
Which is
and
fine,
make sure that they don't get hit, right? So that's a different play style, altogether.
Yeah.
But it is also potentially more vulnerable.
Yeah, I'd say so. It is the whole point is that you really got to understand how your list runs. So this list runs in a very different way. So I think that was really eloquently put. So those are the last of the lists that I really wanted to bring up here. Did you see anything interesting that we missed?
I don't think there's any other unique lists that sort of caught my eye. Most of the other things look fairly standard. The Bully Boys look like Bully Boys. The Grey Knights look like Grey Knights. Sadly, Victor couldn't make it.
Yeah, poor guy.
We have some interesting faction choices in that people that, for example, Sveinung, typically a Tyranid player, now on 1,000 subs.
Yeah,
That could be really scary, right? Rasmus, typically Tal, Drukari, now Sororitas.
That's pretty cool.
Very scary. We have some archetypes that might be a problem for people to deal with. For example, Mr. Truls Oscar Pedersen running the 40 crazies and the Sword Brethren.
Yeah, and he's round
with the Judiciary, right?
Oh, he's running with the Judiciary. Oh.
For the fights first. So that means that, for example, you might have a problem chewing through that without taking too much damage going into it.
Let's pull that bad boy up real fast to take a look at it. Yeah, okay. The Judiciary, that's a pretty fascinating pick. I like it.
Yep. After me and him scrimmed a bit here, I said that basically told him that if you run the Lieutenant, I'm not scared of you. If you run the Judiciary, I don't know how to win against you.
Yeah, I can definitely see
with
that.
my Synaptic Court.
Oh, triple Brutalis. That's sick. I love it. I'm here for it. Triple Brutalis.
That's going to be a list that will at least go 4-1.
Yeah, we probably should have spoken about this
I would be surprised if Truls does not go 4-1.
And he's a strong player too. Dope. I like it. So round 1, who are you playing? Because I think we've already released round 1's pairing set.
I am playing against Mr. Petter Befring. I'm going up against Bully Boys. And I asked Sondre what kind of quality player he is, and I think I'm gonna have to fight for my round 1 victory.
I've seen Petter play quite a bit. He knows how to play. He's got the beast boss.
This is a matchup that I will 100% be forced to outskill him in order to win. There is no default win on my list here at all. Bully Boys in general probably bully the Synaptic Court quite heavily. So I will have to pull up some tricks to win this, I think.
Yeah, I can see it, man, because he's got that big 10-man knob squad. So like he's gonna do the exact opposite of what you're gonna do, right? You're gonna pin with the Wraiths and try to flank with the Scorpax. He's gonna pin with the Megas and flank with that big 10-man knob. That's just gonna run through anything.
Exactly. So our lists are actually somewhat similar to that.
It's pretty cool.
So my game plan essentially has to consist of drawing him out and peppering him down with the Doomstalkers, trying to delay the big engagement for as much as I can. So I will run low on points, turn 1 and 2.
Yeah, I think sometimes when we play this game, we have to like understand that you can't always play to win round 1. Sometimes you need to play under win in round 2 or round 3 or round 4, right? Sometimes you understand you got to let your opponent win the early game so that you can come in for the late game, and when not recognizing that can really be costly sometimes. And I'm going to be running into Mr. Matthias Steen for a beautiful Blood Angels mirror match. And I'm actually pretty excited about it. So Matthias is Rockstar. He's actually a member of the Discord. And if you're not a member of the Discord, you should hop on in there because we'd love to have you join us. You can sign up becoming a YouTube member, or you can use my coffee link in the description down below. So he's running 2 captains with jump packs. One with the Artisan of War, which is actually surprising, which is underrated, I think, because it gets the +1 AP and +1 to the save of the unit, which is pretty sick. Or to the model, not the unit. That would be broken. And then we have the other captain with Visage of Death to have the OC, which is solid at times, because the army does struggle with OC. Lamartes and a Sang Priest with Icon of the Angel, which can also be very solid. It's actually amazing in the mirror. Then we've got a 10-man JPI unit, 1 Ball Predator, a Ballistus, a Brutalis, 10 Death Company Marines, Eradicators. Those are really interesting choices. And then an Inceptor squad. And now I hate this Inceptor squad. That's actually going to be a big problem for me because there's almost nothing I can do about him. And he's going to drop down with those exterminators and just wreck something. The Infiltrator squad, 1 Scouts, and the big Van Vet squad. So this is actually going to be it's not the same style of list that I run or anyone else runs, but it's got some punch behind it, man. I think my key here is to limit where he can drop that Inceptor squad, and then I'm going to have to outcharge him. Like, I'm going to have to choose when we engage. If I could choose where we engage, I think we'll be okay. Outside of that, it's actually a little worrisome for me. And I think that's what we got, guys. If anyone's is out there still kind of on the edge, we'd love to have you join us. We have been running some pretty sick TTS leagues. We're getting ready in maybe 2 or 3 weeks. I'm going to be announcing our Teams League, which is going to be an inter-Discord league where we're going to be doing a draft style for electing teams, and it's going to be sick. And we're going through pretty high-level tactics every single day, and everyone in that Discord is a freaking legend. For all of you out there who are subscribers and have, been booking coaching calls and things, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much. We love having you participate in the community. You guys are all rock stars there. If you guys don't know, Mr. Kjetil here is your fearless leader. He is the admin of the Discord, and we love and appreciate all of his help and support. And with that, I think we're going to go ahead and head off for the evening. Kjetil, I am excited to see you in 2 days. It's been far too long. It's like I just saw you last week, and that was forever ago.
I missed you like forever already, so it's too long. I need your presence.
So we'll be keeping you guys updated in the Discord, and until next time, Krump on. Bye-bye.
Bye.